Need a radio ad fast? With P-Flex Ad Create, you can write it, choose your voice, and hear it before you spend a cent. Build your own audio ad in minutes. Simple, quick, and ready for radio. Try P-Flex Ad Create today. Visit p-flex.co.za and create your own audio ad today.
Swooning for some jazz.
Let Nothemba Madumo serve you up some jazz and beyond.
On 702 and CapeTalk.
Jazz and Beyond on 702 and CapeTalk, where you come for the jazz, you stay for a good time with me, Nothemba. And this is the platform where we engage, we get intimate, we hear all sorts of stories with our guests. And today we have a guest who's not only a South African vocalist, he's a performance artist, he's a storyteller, he's a cultural thinker, and also he is the frontman for an amazing group called The Brother Moves On. And I'm talking about or should I say the full name, Siyabonga Mthembu. How are you?
I'm good. I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
I'm very happy and excited to be in conversation with you because there's something intriguing. Also very exciting about you, not only as a person, but as a performer as well. And I just like how what you do is so much of a reflection of the young South African artist who is giving us sort of a picture of what culture will look like in the future.
Thank you for those kind words.
I'm not lying, am I?
I hope not.
But do you agree though that the role that you play, as well as with The Brother Moves On, it is sort of a representation of where the mind of the youth is?
Well, that's the beauty. I think we're already seeing manifestations of that in the Kujengas of this world.
Yeah.
In the new youngsters coming through who have taken a leaf out of what we've done in essence and are taking it further. So yeah, I think there is some sense of truth. Our argument is that we're the youngest heritage band, legacy band really that's left.
That's left. And hope there are more.
We hope more come, like Rowan Live, you know, easily more. When we hope the commercial scene will give them the space to be legacy acts, you know, because that's the difficulty, is when the commercialism comes, it wants to shave off all that is punk, DIY from what you do, in essence. And so it's that careful notion I think the next generation are going to have to deal with, because we were outsiders, so we were allowed to grow outside of the realm, whereas I think they're going to be co-opted into the center.
I like how you're saying we and not I.
No, not at all.
Because is that how, you know, you have shaped your cultural identity and your artistic identity?
I'm very philosophically Nguni, so I don't believe there is an I. I don't believe in a lead vocalist. I believe we sing together, we make together, we do together. So it's hard for me to consider it as an individual exploit. And a lot of times people are like, so you're the brother? And I'm like, no, I'm not the brother. If anyone is the brother, it's my late brother, Nothemba Mthembu,
yes,
who was the one who convinced all of us that the band existed before it existed.
Yeah. And I'm going to come to your brother and also your dad, who you also lost at a very young age. But I have an image in my head. So please put some reality into this image of mine, of the kind of child that you were. You were into everything. You wanted to try everything. You were singing, you were dancing, you were the one collecting people and like, let's do this. There's music there. There's some artistic thing going on there in some community hall or something. This is me imagining what your youth was like.
the organizing came slightly a bit later, but really, yeah, I think it has a lot to do with my mom at the point of being a single mom, couldn't pick me up at time on school. So what tended to happen was that 2:10 till 5 period, I was at school, so I could
you had to make a plan.
Yeah, I could either sit on waiting for her like most of the other kids do, or I've done every sport. I've done badminton, I've done basketball, I've done volleyball, I've done softball, I've done baseball, I've done it all, based on the fact that I had the time and my mom was not going to pick me up on time. Yeah.
Because she was busy.
Well, she was a single mom running a business that my father had left. So I've always understood that. It's weird because it's from that we've been molded as really like boys who are not the obvious misogynistic boys, because we had to learn how to cook because mom was going to come home late. So if we wanted to look after our mom, we had to pick up on some of her labor duties so that, she's able to breathe at some point.
Do you think that has influenced your view on what women represent?
Totally. I'm brought up by women, so, and I think most of this generation are. So it's really hard. I think if someone was asking me, would you prefer, I have a daughter who's 10 years old. They asked me, would you have preferred to have a son? And I was like, I don't know how to deal with boys. Even in the band, I don't really know how to deal with boys. I'm a lot more softer and a lot more clearer with girls. Why? Because I was brought up by them in essence. In my family, we have about 40 females as my cousins and 2 males, me and Zwash, in essence.
Wow.
So my life has been feminine.
It has. Yeah. It's a very what's the word?
Matriarchal, yeah.
Matriarchal family.
Totally.
Okay. Tell me about how the loss of your father and later your brother also impacted your view of life and your philosophy around it, and also just maybe the importance of making sure that every day and every minute counts.
Yeah. My dad, I was 10 years old. My dad was, I think from my mom and dad I learned love, like, intensely. My mom and dad are not even were in love. Like, my mom has not been able to remarry after my dad's passing.
Wow.
Has not been able to find anyone after my dad's passing. And that's because they were just so clearly in love. So I learned what it is to be committed to a relationship and to love someone from my dad and my mom. My dad's passing had a lot to do with his alcoholism as well. So he felt very lonely as a black man. And he worked at Bristol Myers Squibb, so in the pharmaceutical world. He quit his job and started a fruit and veg called Just Us Fruit and Veg, because he was also from a black consciousness sort of leaning SACP man, because in Tembisa he was known as the Slovo of Tembisa in essence. And my home was the last home you left from before you headed out into exile. So I always used to think that we had a double-story house, but it wasn't that. It was because my dad was sleeping from 9 p.m. until about 5 a.m. in a makeshift room they had made upstairs because the police would come and knock on our door. So it was really interesting that my mom and dad kept this so much away from me. So I grew up a lot not even seeing it, but having snippets of these things that made me wonder who we were. And it was when I was scoring the Winnie Mandela docu-series, a 10-episode series, and we were watching it with my mom and my sister. And my mom and my sister started crying quite heavily, and it was at the time where Winnie was talking about the difficulty of nighttime sleeping, because they would come every night and make it so, and my mom starts crying and my sister starts crying, and I'm like, what's going on here? And then that was the first time, what, 3 years ago? The first time they explained to me that our house was actually a safe house.
You don't say.
Yeah.
As recently as that?
Yeah. Our house was a safe house. So there was a weird memory after my dad died. About 2 weeks later, we were walking through the macro, and Mum Albertina Sisulu walks past us, calls us over and says, Siyabonga Mthembu, I just want to let you know, Babu was a good man. And we're like, how did you know him? We have no clue. So my dad just, he was a really interesting man in that way. He carried so much, and he showed us only the side of him that I think was the private and loving side. He didn't show us the fight in him and all he had to do. And the alcoholism was the issue of that playing into his life. His passing was quite intense. I was 10. It was my first taste of grief and death, in essence. And I think it's then imprinted on all the grief that's come afterwards. What's very interesting is my brother was my dad's child, like spitting image. Wow. Loved him to bits. They both they'd bleed from their noses on just irregular times. And Kush would bleed quite intensely. My dad bled quite intensely. So it was quite interesting that when he was younger, they told us that he died by the age of 12. And he let us know that he's not going to die that young. He's going to die, but he's not going to die that young. And I remember when I got the phone call that he had passed away, he died at the age of 27. So 27's club.
Yep.
Yeah. And with the day he died. Yeah. The day he died, well, the night he died, I was phoned in the morning by my mom to be like, Nkulu gone. And I fell to my knees, and it was the weirdest instinct. I prayed to my gran, and I thanked Ukoko that Nkush got so much extra time. I don't know how I knew that it was Koko's work, that Kush got extra time. But Kush got extra time to live, and what a life lived. Like, he was an exceptional human being. He started everything. He started the band to look after me. He was my big brother.
Yeah.
He created context where I could exist further without him.
Sure.
Because he knew he was going.
And I mean, he did a beautiful song.
We were dying then.
And the pain in that song.
It was exactly that. We were so dying.
I feel it as a listener.
Yeah, we were. Because every single member of the band, we were knotted by him. He was our center. Yeah, he extended out to bring us together. So when he went, it was a really tough, I won't lie, that we survived those 2 to 3 years after he was gone. Because it was lifeless. We didn't know what we were doing anymore. He gave us some sense of purpose.
How did he pass?
He passed, he had a chest infection in essence.
Okay.
Yeah, but he was anemic in the fact that doctors didn't know why he was still alive. His iron was just horribly low all the time. But half full of energy, never ever.
And as you say, that bleeding also.
Yeah.
With similar to
very
which
much.
he took over from your dad.
It's also the sad part. He died at Tembisa Hospital, which is now.
Oh, don't tell me.
Yeah, my boogie hospital.
Yeah.
The same hospital that took his best friend, Shonisani Litole, who became my brother when he passed. It was my brother throughout, but he kind of folded because he realized Nkush is gone and someone needs to look after Sia.
Do you believe, though, that some people that we love their spirit lives in some of the people close to us?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
And I think, like, you're just mentioning that now.
Definitely. Like, it's in how we look after each other. It's that thing of, like, our spirit's not our spirit in an individual white way.
Yeah.
It's once again the Nguni essence of, like, many frequencies happening at once.
These experiences, have they sort of reworked what your role is, or what you believe your role is? That either you're just an artist, or you're a healer, or you're a messenger.
Look, my whole thing is I'm anti the title.
Yeah.
My second name is Mhleli.
Yeah.
And it's taken quite a long time to understand it as a name, but it's sort of my calling into this world,
Which means Mhleli.
Mhleli. At first, when with Coconut Me started out, I thought it meant the one who will lead, because someone gave me that as the definition. And for the first 10 years of my life, I was like, yeah, I'm going to be a leader.
I'm the one.
It was only when I went to the KZN and a friend was like, no, that's not what the name means. I was like, oh, spent my whole life like building an identity based on this.
Yeah.
And the best way to explain it, it's Moses. You know, it's the one who goes before the tribe, the one who goes before the leaders to go and survey the future.
Wow.
And come back. I may not see that future, but my job is to ensure that the community, the collective, get to that future.
What is the future?
Whew. We need art centers so badly in this country.
Yeah.
You know, we need spaces so that younger versions of me don't have to work as hard as I have in a sense of self-discovery. And I've seen it overseas. I've played Roundhouse Rising where youngsters pay £5 to have access to rehearsal space, to studio space, and it's looked after by the commercial world. Like Adele is one of the people who sits on that board. I've been to France, like at Talaric, same thing. Floors and floors of abilities for youngsters to not have to pay to do their craft only, you know? And so I find it kind of weird. We live in this proposal world, the NAC and, you know, the unique organizations proposals world, where we're sending these proposals and we're getting money and we're spending it on shows, but it's not philosophically building a future. It's once-offs. It's not. Are we building infrastructure to ensure that we can have a better world?
There is something missing in how art, culture, and our identity is seen in terms of its role in healing this country, helping this country, growing this country. Where are we going wrong in terms of how we? Because it saddens me when people talk about the arts as a hobby or just entertainment, something to do for labahlanyayo laba. Those who don't want to work or something to that effect, you know. Tell me what is the fundamental thinking that is really messing up the arts?
There's a misogyny to it. You know, spiritual work and private work is not seen as work. So me being able to go earn money outside the house and work, and my wife not looking after our home, we're not seen as equals in this world. You know, I'm seen as the worker, she's seen as the housewife at home, you know, because she can't work. That's a lie. The biggest work is to be done at home. So I find even when the arts, it's spiritual work, you know, it's spiritual work is diminished for those who can't, you know, and can't meaning the misogyny of those who can. But also what I find really kind of weird and scary is we went from a liberation movement that counted on the arts.
Tell me about it.
To create awareness, a movement away from this really stupid system.
To conscientize. The arts were what was used to conscientize.
We had Medwi Ensemble in Botswana. We have so much rich culture that comes from like pre-apartheid time. And I'm sitting there going, when were the artists thrown away in this new dispensation?
Yeah.
You know, the running joke between us is, let's not forget who was our first deputy Minister of Arts and Culture. It was Winnie Mandela, because our president deemed it necessary to put his wife somewhere far away from the center. And that kind of gives you the inkling of what's wrong with our liberation movement's understanding of the arts.
Yeah.
You know, it's something to keep them busy with. And it's weird because that's what emancipated the space.
And that is, you're right, very sad. Yeah.
It's very sad. It's weird because it's just like, what future do we have, especially as the people we are, if we don't have culture? And so what tends to happen is then we get stuck in this rigid, tribal, Verwoerdian culture thought process. You know, and we're not emancipating ourselves from Verwoerdian thinking. And it's worrying. For me, it's worrying because there's a Verwoerd's ability to create viruses, philosophical viruses, is quite intense. And if we don't snap them out now. They just continue to mutate into our future. And that's what's tending to happen. We're still stuck on the 11 tribes. When those tribes themselves were a little bit of a mistake considering ourselves that way. We're stuck on a flag that we're not sure of. Yep. We're stuck on a national anthem that has a song about peace next to a Nazi war cry. Whether we like it or not. Yes, it's talking about the land. This team's talking about the land, etc., etc. But that's the same song they used before they murdered us.
Yeah.
It carries energy. And now we have to sing it in a sense of pride. And it's not to say that the Mandela era is a mistake. No. Mandela himself said this. We have to refresh it over and over again and refresh its ideology, its philosophies to find what's truly becoming the new South Africa. South Africa needs to become a new South Africa every decade.
We do, though, have a tendency of getting stuck in the past.
Yep.
And what worked for that period cannot work for today.
No.
Because we are different people. The space is a different space. There are different influences and so forth. And is this what the brother moves on has taken the opportunity to sort of open the window, shine the lights, magungeno moya,
Straight.
can the sun come in into this darkness that we've got ourselves stuck in?
Yep. And it's also it's that we're stuck in the past. We don't revere the past.
Yes.
It's a very weird thing. So
yeah,
a lot of people don't get that we're a continuation of a tradition. We're not something brand new. It's that first black idea that South Africa loved in the early days. It's not. Black people been doing stuff in this country, creating, making it what it is. And
we have to honor those who have been making and creating in the past, because that's what they've passed on to us.
Exactly. So we got the pleasure of playing with Babtsepotsula.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because, they say don't meet your heroes because they're bound to disappoint you. But I think that's also because you judge your heroes and you don't see them for the humans that they are. And Pratsepo was really amazing. His big thing to the band was like, I'm too strict. Yeah. I'm too much of a disciplinarian. I must let the boys be free. Let the boys be free. Let the boys be free. But we got to record a song with him. And it meant so much to us because, Sankomota is me and my dad. That's my dad.
Hello.
That's my dad all the way through. So it's been weird. This music thing has been like an echoing back to my dad. Shabaka and the ancestors signed with the record label I grew up staring at, the sun going around the record.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm like, I'm an impulse baby, and I'm only an impulse baby because of my dad.
Yeah.
So it's a manifestation of my dad. I'm a continuation of his ideas, the music he played, which I hated when I was a kid, in the same way that my kid hates my music in the same way. But when I'm not looking at her, she's singing those songs.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it. I'm a continuation. I'm not.
And that is true because when we were young, I mean, my parents just banned any other music outside of jazz.
Yep.
Someone bought me a Chaka Khan thing, and I played it on my dad's turntable. And my dad like, what is that? Not on my system. So you see how that, look at me today. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because now I'm able to discern, what matters and what doesn't.
Yeah, and it feels a certain way to you. It's not an intellectual listening exercise.
No.
It comes from, like I used to go.
I feel it. It's an unexplained thing. You just feel it. I don't have to think about it. I don't have to go and, go into an exam. Like, I know a lot of people like, do you know who's playing?
No.
Can you recognize it? No, Tamba, you should know who's I'm like, hello. There are thousands and thousands of saxophonists and pianists and what have you. And yes, there are those who have a distinctive sound and what have you. But also they play the same song, different versions, and many artists. So I must. But anyway, that's besides the point. The point is you can't run away from your foundation.
No. Truly can't.
Yeah.
It truly can't. It's what makes you who you are.
Yeah.
You know, and it's exactly what you're saying now. I don't, like other jazz artists are so deep into the bebop. I'll tell you who's this, who's that, who's that. My influences are far away from that. My influences, I come back to that because that's my dad's music.
Yeah.
But my influences come from the other side, and now I make from both sides because I'm not so heavily entrenched in the jazz world. But neither am I a pop artist. I can't stand pop for anything.
True.
You know, so
Actually, just describe the music of The Brother Moves On.
We like to call it ninja gospel. As a way,
Ninja gospel.
Yeah, as a way to sort of avoid having to explain much. Yeah. We call it ninja gospel. But if I had to put genre and names to it, I like telling the youngsters we're like bad, not good. Because that gives them an international sort of example in that we can play jazz, we can play hip-hop, we can play funk, we can play rock and roll, but we never play one thing.
Yeah.
You know? We're not an eclectic mix of everything. We're very distinct, one thing that carries many energies.
Many energies. And also it has to do with what you've been exposed to musically and the different styles which you all contribute and put into the mix.
And we're transition kids.
And transition kids.
Yeah.
Because what I am finding though that the younger the jazz musicians, the different jazz, South African jazz sound it becomes. And that's good.
Yeah, Kujenga sounds like a mature group of like old men who decided to make jazz.
Exactly.
You know, that's what the amazing part is. Like we could never go in that direction. You know, it's anti-brother to go purely in that direction. But it's so interesting to see then a young group of 20-something-year-olds play such mature, beautiful South African music. You know?
Do you guys all contribute in the compositions?
We have a rule, you're allowed to bring a song, but it doesn't belong to you once it gets to us.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you want to bring a song into the band, you must know we're going to destroy it.
Yeah.
It's going to turn into our song. You know, so...
I like that.
No, it's very important.
I like that because, as I always say, you know, governments should use the jazz philosophy to govern.
Yeah.
The collaborative.
Yep.
We all bring ideas. We all give each other an opportunity to express yourselves.
Yep.
We are a collective because we have a vision, a singular vision. Wouldn't it be a lovely country?
It would. It would. And they're missing the metaphors. This is the thing. In their relation to the arts, they're missing the metaphors so hard.
Yeah.
And it's the thing of calling it sports, arts, and culture. You know?
That in itself already.
I don't know. I'm one of the few who's lucky to span across that kind of talent base of like, I can play sports, I can sing, but generally those worlds don't live in the same sort of thinking and consciousness.
Absolutely.
So that's why we've had a fall apart, is that we really need a dedicated Minister of Arts and Culture.
You know, I asked you to give me some songs that are important to you or maybe have had an influence in your being. One of them was Sisonke Konti. Sinifile.
I wish I sang that. Every time it plays, I wish Sisonke phoned me.
Do you know how my listeners, when I play that song, it's like even me, when it's playing, I'm singing along. It's like, it's such an uplifting, and you want to just sing along and get into that trance, and
it gets into Guijovo. You know, this is the beauty of it. It's like I saw it even now at Jazz in the City.
Yeah,
it's just so interesting to see a horn player pull down the horn and just start singing. And for me, why I chose that song is that I'm a Zimlawana baby. Like, thoroughly, like loves him. Think that he opened cosmic spaces with what he did. And I feel like after this weekend, I was very sure Sisonke is the one carrying that torch. Like he's Zim's baby. And not in like trying to be convoluted at all, but in being a man who can actually tap into his closeness, but also this jazz idiom. And what I love about him also is that you forget how talented he is because he's such a nice human being.
True.
You know, that every time he plays, I remember and I'm surprised again by the fact that, damn, song is amazing.
Yeah.
You know, so, and he didn't get his flowers. You know, his stand-up Bang Young Artists happened during COVID times. But still, never dampened by that, you know?
I mean, he was sitting where you're sitting. And I also spent almost an hour with him. And it's just fascinating when you get into, an artist outside of being on stage and what we read or what is promoted, and get to know the person. Because I think it also helps us understand where this creativity and this talent and what it is driven by and inspired by, and understand it, and probably even appreciate and feel it even more than probably surface or superficial.
It humanizes it all.
It
humanizes it all. It's so vitally important. It's just, I think a lot of times this glamour society makes us so far away from each other, and artists start feeling very lonely. This humanization of the whole situation and us being friends, like even last night having Tuesday Funk, and the beauty of Tuesday Funk of hanging out together as musicians.
Yeah.
It's why we did this in the first place. And the commercialism is keeping us from that. It was to share with humans.
True.
It was to give them songs that, like, the songs we sing no longer are ours. They're the people who sing them.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the beauty. Is like, if you don't ever get to meet those people, you can forget.
I like the Tuesday Funk. I went, I think it was the first one that you guys did. And Peter, I couldn't stay after for the second half, but it was funky and it was fun. and I also like the fact that it doesn't sound planned.
It's all improv.
It's organic. And everybody comes and does their thing, and you know, even us as an audience being part of that, it's just
the magic.
So black.
Straight up, it's the magic. You know, we've forgotten the magic.
Yeah, man.
Like the commercialism, the selling the show, it takes away from the magic. What's nice about Tuesday Funk is all of that is stripped down. You're not allowed to play jazz standards. You're not allowed to play songs, you know. It's all off the top of our heads.
Fantastic.
And it's such a great feeling in it. You know, I was saying to someone even yesterday, Vuma Levin, who for me is one of the most amazing guitarists, but a lot of times people don't see how cool he is and what he does.
He is.
And funk just exposes youngsters. Yesterday, young musicians were just like, who is this? I'm like, he's always been here.
and also, if you only focus on what either he's recorded, you don't experience the full Vuma. You know, what's your favorite, or not favorite, but probably the most proudest recording of The Brother Moves On? The one that either you or even the band says, here, guys, we killed it.
Mthandazo. Mthandazo wa Magang. Because it's hard to hear your own voice. My wife likes playing my music when she's with friends, and I can't stand it. But when it comes down to that song, also Thandi produced most of it.
Oh.
Yeah. She really didn't want to be at the center of the song because she had done another version of the song.
Yes, Mthandazo.
Yeah,
yes.
so she was just like, very like, away from it, but produced it so beautifully. And it's just
Tandintuli. For those who may not know who we're talking about.
Some of us is only one Tandi, you know. But even now when I hear it, I'm not listening to myself.
Ne?
Yeah, those are the nice ones. When I can hear it, I'm like, this is dope. And it's not me. It's something else.
Wow. Has your voice changed over the years?
Totally. So I used to be able to sing soprano. Yeah, standard 5, Miss
With
Maynard.
this
gravel voice of mine. I used to be a soprano, Miss Maynard, God bless her soul.
Oh my word.
Choir, it forced me to do choir. I was one of the only boys forced to stay in choir. And then what's also weird is my mom saved my life. In standard 2, when my dad died, the Drakensberg Boys Choir came.
You were part of that too?
No, they asked me to come. They offered me a scholarship. And Mom said no. Mom said, he's not okay to be away from me. And that saved my life. That practically saved my life. That made my life not about music. Music is a part of who I am, but it's not everything I am.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I did Pop Stars.
I get you.
I did Pop Stars, the original Coca-Cola Pop Stars.
Highway, man.
By mistake. I was 17 years old. And my sister wanted to do Pop Stars really badly. And my mom forced her to babysit me. So she promised me that if I came with her to this Pop Star audition, she'll show me Melville. And in my head, I was like, oh my God.
At 17.
Melville, Bohemia, oh my God. My type of people. You know? And so I went with her. We got to the SABC. We went for the first audition, second audition. By the end of the day, I got called back to like the next day's audition, and she didn't. She brought me the next day. I went in, and then I made it to the camp, to the last 50. But there was no action from me. I was just like, oh, okay, again.
Yeah.
And then it was when the last 40, they kicked out this amazing female colored singer, mother of 2, who was giving all her heart to be there. And I felt like I wasn't giving anything to be here. Why am I still here?
Why? Yeah.
So then I locked myself in the bathroom.
When it was your turn?
For the whole day.
I win.
Locked myself in and the only reason I did it was because I wanted my mom to win the Peugeot 206 because she had car problems. So when we hit the last 30, I was like, this is not me. I don't want to be a pop star. And it looks like I might end up being a pop star, so I'm not going to do this. Wow. So I locked myself in the bathroom, and the next day I got kicked out. Got on the bus, drove back all the way to the SABC. As I got out of the bus, my mom's wearing a blanket around her waist, and she's like, you're my pop star. Oh. Yeah, and that's what's carried me. That's
beautiful.
Yeah, I don't have to be the winner. I don't have to be the one who's like at the lead, but I'm living a really full life in the fact that like this engagement with music is such a spiritual and familial thing. It's like my mom's a preacher in a church. My dad's a jazz head. I had no choice.
Yeah. What is it about this collaborative thing? What has it taught you about power and ego?
Phew, that's such a big one. I think the testing thing that I've been trying to teach even the younger bands that I work with is if you don't build a structure, ego is coming. You know? If you don't build ways to balance and ensure equity for everyone, ego is a given. You know, lots of these bands that have ended, it's been based on that. It's just, after a while, it's just ego takes over the whole game and everyone can't be in the part of the process. So you learn to like, as a leader, learn to step back, give people space, give them some sense of authority and equity into what you're doing. And it's scary for the band. For years I've been saying to them, guys, I can't be the leader. I can't be the leader. Please help me lead. Yeah, 1 or 2 have stepped up to support in the go. But there's a fear to lead together as a collective. And it's also becoming such a weird South African thing. We have to have a head boy. We have to have a prefect. We have to have someone who leads us. When I find us to be very, very eloquent as political like people. Like I go to other countries and people aren't so aware. From the petrol attendant to the lady who works in the kitchen is like no one no other country has such politically like aware and awake people who could lead their own destinies and define what they want out of the world. And it's only when we hit calamities that these voices get to stand up, but not as a constant running thing. And so I'm trying. I haven't won. I failed in this one, but I'm trying very hard to be not the leader.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But keeping the collective in an ensemble, I think it's been changing.
It has to. It's in the name.
Yeah.
Brothers and move on.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
so
they get to that point where they're like, I don't see growth here anymore.
How do you then maintain, the collective when it's constantly
it's the ritual,
shifting?
The ritual of play. The ritual.
Tell me about that ritual.
We very much we have so much fun together.
Yeah.
Like we laugh, we enjoy ourselves. But I think the ritual of play is about a sense of excellence that we're always searching for. So we love writing good songs, amazing songs that we like. Forget the fact that when we have to present to someone else who likes them. So because of that, it's not difficult to maintain an essence.
Yeah.
We have, like right now we're busy with a triple album thought process called Flora, Fauna and Effing. Or otherwise known as Amaplom Izilwane.
The titles you guys come up with for these projects.
Izilwane. I mean, Amaplom Izilwane no Kant is a triple album thing that we're working on. And it's based on the fact that we've got about 70 to 80 songs in our discography that are not recorded.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay.
We love writing songs.
And that's fabulous because, I mean, it's probably a process that gives you joy and peace and a sense of also just belonging, and you also just ground yourself.
Yeah, there's a newness. I think especially when we get to this age, we get bored and we think we're stuck in the same old. What's great about rehearsal is it breaks that. You get there very irritated. That, oh my God, another thing in my life I have to go to. But by the time it's time to leave, you don't want to go back to your 9 to 5 self.
I mean, what if you were to be honest, the other band members, what's the one thing about you that they complain about you the most?
That's very interesting. What is that?
I know I should be asking them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what is the biggest complaint. I think I would go back to this whole I over communicate.
Okay.
Yeah. So in the absence of communication,
micromanagement.
Yeah. I'm talking to myself. I'm band mom. I'm in the WhatsApp commenting back to myself, asking everybody, can someone please talk? This is really irritating. I just need someone to tell me if this is a good idea or not.
Yeah.
I think that would be one. And also just but this was something that kind of over the years that really taught me a lot about, but my own sense of anger when things aren't going the way they need to go, I shut down and pull away. But as the years have gone, I know who I can count on when I'm in that space.
Okay.
So I can be like, Simpure, please take over.
I'm
gonna go sit at the back. And I'm looked after that way. I am a prima donna. I really much get into prima donna phase when it's singing time.
Yeah. Okay. But I mean, your style of singing is it's so authentic. It's you're not trying to be anyone but you know.
Very much.
And it and that becomes so important because it distinguishes you and also the brother moves on, from everyone. You also said you like the Robert Glasper featuring Bilal.
Bilal is my favorite vocalist.
Letter to Homo. And they were performing at the Montreal Jazz Festival. But because I was staying about an hour and a bit away, they were the last. I had to leave just as they started.
And apparently they were amazing.
So I missed out on what that performance was like?
I saw him on a cold night in Newtown, under the bridge, Bilal. It was so cold, but I was not going to go away. He's amazing. And also just like the person behind the music, he's a father with 2 special need kids. But you can see it in his demeanor. He's like really like, he's never ever thought he'd accomplish what he's accomplished. And he's accomplished so much. Yeah. I've been listening to him from his first album, from even the one that the label screwed him over with. And that's why we got Firstborn second as the second album. But I love Bilal's music. I really...
That's
he sits there with Macy Gray, with Anthony and the Johnsons, with Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah.
It's just like voices that decided to sing in their voice. Not necessarily, like he's skillful, he's amazing as a vocalist, but what I like the most is that it's his voice. It's not him trying to sound an immaculately schooled voice in essence.
Which I've just said about you.
That's why I love him. It's Macy Gray. Macy Gray is just like, sounds like the ground.
Yeah. Morgan Harper Jones, I Wanna Dance with Somebody.
Yeah. That's a mix. That's my daughter and I's fave.
Oh.
She doesn't even know the original. Oh. So then it does this nice thing of like, it's my daughter, but I know the original because of my dad. So it does this really nice bouncing between, and it's so beautiful, Morgan Harper. Like I sometimes play for people and they're like, "Oh my god, oh this is so nice." I'm like, yeah. Music.
There we go.
Yeah.
You know, April is Jazz Appreciation Month.
Boo.
And what does that phrase mean to you?
If I was the president, there'd be jazz everywhere. And really, I think we have to go to like that Central Park idea. There should be jazz in every township once a month for free for families. Jazz is a family music. You know, it's not really old people's music. It's family music. When you go to Morotelo Park and it's packed full of people. When you go to Jazz in the Lights and it's packed full of black families.
Yeah,
that's jazz for me. Jazz is not the clubs, the festivals, the high end stuff. Jazz is the basket, the blanket, the only time black people picnic.
Yeah, because some people experience jazz, but they're not even aware of it. They watching movies. That's the soundtrack.
No, it's the thing. It's
you
texture.
Walk into a building. That's this supposed background music, or they put you on hold on a phone.
There's an amazing French band called The Books.
Yeah,
The Books got paid by one of the French district governments to create elevator music.
I know. Yes, I know about the elevator music.
Yeah,
and normally it's the smooth jazz, especially here at home. Anyway,
But this is the beauty of The Books.
Yeah,
it's not smooth jazz. It's not even. It becomes the jazz meets classical, but with like found sounds. So like voice notes of like, oh, you know, I'm really depressed and I'm not sure. And behind the time there's this pianist playing. It's just like, this is so beautiful. And that's when I like it. I like when music becomes utility again in a way that we can feel and we live with. Like I love in Japan and Tokyo, the toilet has a thingamajig, a music button. So how you're in there's like a choice of like 5 to 10 songs that you can listen to.
Now that is a country that knows the magic of the arts.
Yep.
You put it in the toilet.
It's so amazing.
Do you play any instrument?
No, I only sing.
Why?
My cousin stole my guitar.
These cousins, man.
Yeah. No, he then ended up the guitarist for the band. So. Not a bad one.
No,
not a bad one. Yeah, I don't know. Hey, people have asked me, why haven't you?
I was asking because we've got a piano now here.
Ooh,
so I was going to ask you to just go and stream something there.
No, I think the real truth is I'm a drama kid who's singing.
Yeah.
I'm not a musician, you know?
Yeah.
And those things come out when I like hang with people like Yonela Mnana, who I think is a genius.
But what do you... And yes, I agree with you. What happens to you when you hear a certain sound and that just makes you want to jump and go and spiel some...
Yeah.
Some... What needs to happen for
that spark to happen?
For Usia to say, I'm going to create something out of the sound I'm hearing.
It's quite the opposite. So there's a song Spila Sebenzela Lumhlaba.
Yeah.
It's like it's that utility thing I was telling. I found it while jogging.
Oh.
Yeah, it doesn't happen. I don't, as soon as I go, I'm going to, it doesn't happen. It chooses me. I don't choose it.
Wow.
Yeah. And that's the way I understand it. I understand that I'm broadcasting messages rather than my ideas. And so it will find a moment, it'll choose me, it'll show me how to sing it.
Lovely.
There's this beautiful song we've just written, the new one, Sakile Nkosi was the center of the compositional work. And the first time I heard it, I went with so much of my instinct of like broadcasting, and I sang, excuse me, as I kiss you high. And only later, we didn't record it. So I lost it and I started singing something else that was longer. And Sims was like, nah, man, you've forgotten it. I'm like, yeah, because I didn't think it. And he's like, let me find it on the recording for you. It's like, oh yeah, now I remember it.
Wow.
So it's a remembering. It's not a creation. It's our peoples opening up portals and palaces in the sky.
There's a collaboration you did. I think it's a song called Sivuleleni or something. With what do they call themselves? I forgot. But I've forgotten what it is. But was it Kujenga? Hey, I get
no,
confused.
it is Kujenga. It's on Tim Kulus, Steerman.
Tom Kulu.
Yeah, Steerman,
yes.
who's I'm really excited about as well. Yeah, that song is, and also that song is just like them acknowledging us, as in like the Sisonkes, the Yonelas, those of us who.
But this is for me what Jazz Appreciation Month should be. Just remind people that we are here today because someone else was.
Gave up so much of their time and energy.
And made it possible.
Well, when are we getting a jazz museum?
That is a question.
We're number 3, 1, 2, 3 globally of jazz in the world for the last 40, 50 years.
Yeah.
And then when I go to Slovenia...
A jazz radio station.
When I go to Slovenia, I'm seeing Praluslus Moholo exhibition taking up a whole floor. Yeah. But I have not been able to see any of his work here at home. You know?
Listen, like you say, a lot of spaces for jazz, which may not necessarily focus on jazz, but just creative spaces for people, for these amazing artists. The brilliance of what South Africans can create is being appreciated and taken by people around the globe. While here at home we like, hey, abusiya
it's a weird one for me. I don't get it because here's the thing. Australia did a study because they had a GDP jump, but they couldn't understand it in like the 90s into the 2000s. It was like a 3.2 GDP jump, and they're like, where did this come from? So they put out research on that relation, and they've realized it came from the fact that 5 to 10 years prior, they started building youth centers, fully equipped with sound, and as a place for youngsters to then learn how that whole system works. And when they checked their 3.2 GDP growth, it was the fact that they were exporting more bands. The creative economy had kicked in as a big player in the go. And that's why I said, I'm like, giving these young bands opportunities to just go overseas, be seen, is so simple.
It is so simple, and it is so important.
Yep.
Talking about Australia, there's a band in Australia, a white band that plays strictly South African jazz.
I've seen it
You've
on
seen
Instagram that does like once a week South African night.
Yeah.
Yep. You see what I'm saying?
They want our music. They want us. They want who we are.
Everywhere. And it's the thing is, there's something about us. I think we don't, and it has to do with the fact that we are a meeting point of the globe.
Yeah.
So we're able to, it's easier to understand us in different contexts.
True.
And our government just doesn't see that.
Yeah, they're focused on other things.
Yeah.
For Siya, what is the ideal world looking like? Angithi wena uthe wena you've been sent to go and see the future and come back. What is that future?
So a friend of mine, Nolan Dennis, a really amazing visual artist who's won the Deutsche Bank Art Prize, which is kind of the big prize. We were walking through Berlin together, and a homeless person was asking him for something, and he gave him money, and he gave him quite a bit of money. And then he turned to me and he was like, we as the middle class judge homeless people about what they're going to buy with that money. At the same time, we were going to drink some wine together. But we're allowed to have that leisure, but he's not allowed to have that leisure.
Yeah.
And we were having this conversation about how unnecessary work is. Like work is necessary for the rituals, but not necessarily for purpose. A world that doesn't rely on people being employed is very vital. Like our country's whole definition is this unemployment thing, and but it's come sort of negating the situation instead of looking what's positive and what we can do. We've got more time to build. But it's this work and capital thing. Yeah. If we don't remove it as a way of like how we as humans experience ourselves and experience this world, then all the other things really stop mattering. So it's a world where people are looked after, fed, given a place to stay, basic income, and not a world where it's just about who can be a star.
And also stopping us from scratching and climbing all over each other to get more.
There's enough.
To get more and more.
There's enough.
And big and big and big.
There's enough to go around. It's just we're not prepared to share.
I like that. Siya, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
One thing we didn't talk about, I hope we can just quickly, because you do work at the Institute.
Yes, I do.
Tell me what you do there.
And
the Institute as well, and what it
I
represents.
work at the Goethe Institute, which is the German institute. I'm a project manager. I manage the gallery. I manage their music program. And on top of that, there's 2 grants that we give out, in essence. A GPS grant for art that happens outside of the major cities, and that is not about nation building. And then a second one, which is a Hendrika Gross Prize, which is a prize given to exceptional African artists to do an exhibition, to publish a book, and they get the prize money in essence as well.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And how impactful have those programs been?
They've been so many. Like this last weekend, so we've gotten even a new program where we're giving out funds for the next 3 years, not as the Goethe, but as the Goethe and the French. And a new office was established, which is an Africa-Europe partnership. And I introduced a director this last week to Cape Townian spaces and Cape Townian scene. And she just came back and she was just like, you're doing such impactful work. Like the people I spoke to were GPS recipients. Some had done this with the Goethe, some had done that with the Goethe. But also the conversation was very much like, you're a connector. Not only are you a performer, you're able to use that understanding of those networks to bring it back into the administration and ensuring things make sense. And they've given me that. They've given me grounding to be an adult in what I do, in essence.
And they've given you a space to do what you were brought on this earth to do.
Totally so.
To go.
Very much so.
Look what's up ahead.
And to plan for a future. And for me, it's a beginning. There is a huge curatorial job in Johannesburg I really want. And if I get that, I will change the city. You know?
Listen, I've spoken to all the energies and the powers. You're going to get it. You're going to get it.
Thank you. Need to change the city, for black and brown kids everywhere.
Thank you so much for joining us on Jazz and Beyond.
Thank you for having me.
Come for the jazz and stay for the good times.
On Jazz and Beyond with Nothemba Madumo.
On 702 and Cape Talk.